Forbes is one of the most loved and reputable media companies in the world. I'm sure you've at least heard of their 30 under 30 lists or their richest people in the world rankings. But how did they attain the global presence they have today? To answer this question, we'll need to go back over 100 years to the man who started it all. Welcome to Doers Digest. In this video, we'll be looking at the historical rise of Forbes. On the 14th of May in 1880, a man named Bertie Charles Forbes was born in New Deer, Aberdeenshire in Scotland, to Agnes and Robert Forbes. The name Forbes has a prestigious background, as it formerly belonged to lords in Scotland. But this didn't trickle down into Bertie's family. They were working class and the name didn't greatly distinguish them at the time. Bertie was one of 10 children, which meant he had to quickly learn to contribute what he could. So by 9, he was herding cattle and shining shoes. Over the next 5 years, Bertie was able to teach himself how to write. So at age 14, he started working for his local newspaper, the Dundee Courier. He'd also study and learn during the night classes at the local university. For the next several years, Bertie continued to develop his writing ability, and in 1902 was hired at the NATO Mercury. By now, he'd already traveled over 6,000 miles from his home in Scotland to South Africa. And in 1904, he extended his travels to New York City, where he began working for the Journal of Commerce. Today, New York City is a globally recognized area, known for its diversity of culture, towering skyscrapers, sports, pizza, and a whole lot more. But in 1904, New York City was still developing its character. Bertie Forbes arrived to a city far less populated than it is today, sitting at around 7 million compared to the almost 20 million it holds today. And like many who ventured there, Bertie's career took off as a columnist. He was enjoying so much success that in 1911, he was hired by William Randolph Hearst to be the New York American's latest business and financial columnist and editor. By now, well into his American tenure, Bertie filed his Declaration of Intention and later petitioned for naturalization. This finally granted him American citizenship in 1917, the same year he published his first book, Men Who Are Making America. This book was a major milestone in Bertie's life and similarly in the history of Forbes. It was a self-help style book that sought to answer the question how one could attain success by analyzing the lives of the 50 most notable businessmen of the 20th century. This approach to writing is of course very similar to Forbes' modern-day approach to highlighting flourishing entrepreneurs. The book was a great success, and it allowed Forbes to enter into a partnership with a man named Walter Dray, who was the general manager of the magazine of Wall Street. Together, they fashioned a bi-monthly publication initially called Doers and Doings. However, they quickly minimized the name to Forbes and folded the discarded name into a subtitle. As in any good business partnership, the two men complemented each other well. Bertie was the money man and kept the business alive in that regard, while Dre focused on creating the highest quality content. The two men were unified in their goal for Forbes magazine, which was the same then as it is today: to highlight the people behind the business, to demystify and humanize the corporations of the day. So, unsurprisingly, their first publication was a comprehensive analysis of the big men, including Charles Mitchell and Jay Gould, along with a lengthy investment analysis. The company produced eye-catching writings which included an interview with John D. Rockefeller, who was the richest man in the world at that time. And they didn't just write to their audience, they engaged with them. Early on, a competition was held to identify the best employer in America. Employees from all different businesses submitted their written opinions, and one fortunate John H. Patterson even won a cash prize. Moves like this continued to distinguish Forbes in the minds of their consumers. And they were essentially running unopposed as champion of this journalism niche, until 1930 when two additional magazines entered the market, Fortune and Business Week. Over the next decade, Forbes saw a significant decrease in their readership numbers as the competing businesses overtook them in popularity. In reaction to this, Forbes' son, Malcolm S. Forbes, made several changes to the company's structure, content strategies, and business plan, which restored their temporarily lost success. Sadly, in 1954, Bertie Forbes died of a sudden heart attack. And in keeping with the family name, his eldest son, Bruce Forbes, assumed ownership of the business. Not only that, but Malcolm served as the CEO of Forbes and editor-in-chief of Forbes magazine, before he too was superseded by another brother, Steve Forbes, who is still the company's CEO today. Under this new leadership, the company continued to thrive throughout the 60s, 70s, and 80s, where they began launching their oh-so-famous lists such as the Forbes Richest 400. and this content was beginning to be consumed around the globe as they started releasing international editions in both Europe and Asia. In the early 2000s, Forbes had firmly solidified their status as a trusted and insightful company within the US. And in line with their new global initiative, the company sold a majority stake to a Hong Kong-based investment company named Integrated Whale Media Investments. In spite of this new majority ownership, the Forbes family still retained active involvement in the running of the company. Today, Forbes releases a multitude of notable lists and articles, such as their famous 30 Under 30, outlining their top 30 picks of the most influential, affluent, and high-potential individuals. They have nearly 50 global editions and close to 3,000 journalists working to create the highest quality content possible. And it's funny to think how it all started with the vision of one man. A man who I think, and I'm sure you'll agree, changed the world of business. But that's just my take. Let me know what you think in the comments below and also what business you'd like to see covered next.